Hi, welcome to Less of Me Success Stories. I'm your host, Robyn Dobbins, and my co host, Natalie Champ, will be running the chat tonight. Hey, Natalie.
Hi, Robyn. We know what it's like to be helpless and hopeless. Your journey is not over. You can rewrite your story at any time. We provide a platform for people to share their stories and, and how they reclaimed their lives using dietary interventions.
Thanks. We appreciate all of you for joining us tonight. Please take a moment to share this live on your socials. As a reminder, we are not medical professionals offering medical advice. Please work with your medical team before attempting any dietary interventions. So now let me introduce our guest. Tonight, our guest is an avid athlete. He not only competes in Spartan races around the country, he also does high intensity training. His job also requires heavy lifting and countless steps. He's a beast who fuels himself by following a beef heavy NSNG way of eating. While he may sound rough and tough, he has true compassion for others, often stopping mid race to lend a hand or sharing the benefits of low carb eating to anyone who will listen. Let's welcome Ken I did it wrong. Lesnansky. I said it right when we were talking before, Ken. I'm so sorry. So, welcome, Ken, to Less of Me Success Stories.
How are you today, Robyn and Natalie?
Oh, I think I'm doing well, except for I messed up your name and now I'm truly embarrassed. So,
Oh, it's no
we'll
different
just
than Vinny calling
claw.
me Lewinsky.
Ken. We'll just go with Ken. We don't need to be so formal. So, just what we do around here is we like to give you the opportunity to share. So share whatever you want. And of course, we record live. If guests come on and they have questions, Natalie will let us know that there's questions coming in and we'll stop you there. We'll stop somewhere midway and start asking questions. So I'm just turning the floor to you.
Awesome. My name's Ken. I'm 52 years old, and I decided to start down this journey back in 2010 or so when my oldest son, Michael, was diagnosed with his mom's disease. It's called FAP. If you're going to look it up, make sure you type in medical, otherwise you will get porn. It is familial anamosis polyposis. And basically, what it comes down to is polyps that excessively grow from the intestinal tract from top to bottom. At 30 years old, his mom had a colonoscopy, and the doctor comes back and goes, I don't know what this is. I will figure it out and I'll get back with you in 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, we come back in. He says, well, we have to remove your entire large intestine all the way down through your anus. She had 15,000 polyps at 30 years old because her dad had died of colon cancer at 44. It is genetic. Her brother at 26 had the same test done and had 33,000 polyps. So Michael, which is this child, he was 13 years old when we could finally get the genetic testing done. And we get in there, he has his first colonoscopy, and he has 14 polyps at 13 years old. Through other life issues going on there, he was not living with me at that time. And we finally got him back home in his ninth grade year, and we got him clean. We had zero polyps. Unfortunately, life goes on, and he no longer lives with me. But he's going to be 26. Well, he just turned, oh, yeah, he'll be 26 this year. That same year, Wendy, my current wife, was diagnosed with underactive thyroid. At that point in time, I was listening to a lot of music podcasts because, well, driving a brown truck for 30 plus years, you kind of get used to not having anything in your ear, and you can only listen to the radio so long before you get tired of the same song. Because, oh, let's play Madonna on the hour, on the hour, on the hour, on the hour. When you're putting in a 60-hour work week, you've listened to that 60 plus times that same song each week. That gets old. So I was looking up at different music and I was playing with the different techno because, oh, wow, that's fun. Got to get that energy. Got to go, got to go, got to go. And at that point, I was also drinking anywhere in the neighborhood of 4 to 5 double gulps worth of pop a day. In addition to that route, I had a Anthony's pizza. I would go in there and have 3 big slices of pizza for lunch every day. Yummy. Needless to say, I gained a lot of weight. Um, but between that and that, I searched through how can you fix a thyroid, not thinking I could do anything for Michael, but I wanted to try to do something for him. And I ran into Abel James. And he said, well, you can fix a thyroid by changing your diet. And since Kenneth means leader in the way when you look at the different kids' names books, I thought I would lead it. 8 months later, I was down 80 some pounds just by removing the bread, eating a ton of bacon. Doing that, I was still eating probably 2 quarts of ice cream every week. I have a sugar addiction. It's a bad addiction. Um, yeah, that was fun. Over the course of the time, so we're looking at what, 14, 15 years now, I've just gotten more and more active as I've gotten more and more aging and seeing the benefits of mentoring other people. Um, with the amount of kids I had, I needed to do something that was decent. I have 8 kids between 3 wives. My oldest was born at 2 pounds 7 ounces at 26 6 weeks, so 3.5 months premature. She actually came home the week before she was due in a Cabbage Patch clothing. Because do you remember how small those Cabbage Patch kids were? Man, those were tiny. And she was swimming in that. She was back in the hospital about a month or so later with whooping cough. When the kid is in the hospital, can't do anything, the doctor just stares at you and walks out. There's something wrong with our system, and it's horrible. Multiple eye surgeries, multiple surgeries, multiple surgeries, multiple surgeries. Um, Luckily, I can say at this point in time, she is doing great. So, identifies as a male because, well, transgender things. And at age 32, I found out this week that is now working an office job for the first time. But anxiety, it's a work from home situation. Um, the third wife, which Robyn had met, is Wendy, which happens to also be my boys' mother's name, but hers is W-E, where the current is W-I. Um, Current wife brought in 3 girls. One is transgender as well. It's always a tomboy. Um, the 2 older ones blame me for getting them to actually go to school, graduate, find a hubby that's decent, um, really, really decent wise. I was asked to adopt the oldest one because her dad refused to put his name on the birth certificate because, oh, well, they weren't married at the time. The second 2 are twins. Now, mind you, I'm going down in ages. So, oldest one goes by Lucas, which is the 2 pound child. Next oldest is Wendy, the third wife, and that one's Larissa. She just had her second baby a couple days before Christmas. So she now has 2 baby boys. So I'm a grandpa of 2 baby boys. Third one down is Maria, and she is 26 and a twin to Claudia, who goes by TJ, who is also married. TJ had lived with us up until probably this time last year when they kind of got irritated with me turning off all the internet equipment because they weren't doing enough around the house. as far as either taking care of what they did or going out and getting a job and paying for their household bills. Which doesn't sound like much. I mean, you live in a basement, all you have is your cell phone, your internet, and your food. We've even got a third fridge just for that. Lucky us. The next child down the line is Michael, which I had talked about for the health issues. The next one down the line is Jason. And Michael, Jason, Alex, and Sean all came from my second wife, four boys. Jason is 23. Yeah, he'll be 23 this year. Um, Currently welding and lives with his mom because he decided after graduating school that he didn't want to live with me anymore. Um, Pretty much takes care of her and her man as far as money wise. Alexander graduated last year and he'll turn 21 here in June and works as an electrician with one of my cousins. Um, Sean, he's my problem child. I love him to death, but he's my problem child. Has not gone to school since he was 14. COVID really screwed up a lot of things with him. And then he turned 18 on the 12th of this month, and I have not seen him since the 11th. But that's not unusual because most of the last year he has been at his girlfriend's house. At one point when he was 15, I physically kicked him out of the house and um, moved him back into his mom's house because I couldn't deal with the issues of the drugs that was coming in and out of the house. And then, of course, lying, stealing, all the stuff that goes on with being a bad child. But bad actions, not bad child. Um, yeah, that's my kids. We've had Huskies, Labs, Malamutes, got a Chihuahua back here that has got on his last leg. I think along the lines of Anna Bocino's last leg. He's been struggling and struggling. That was Larissa's dog. She brought him home, but refuses to take him back out to Maryland. Imagine that. She brought one of her dogs home or out to Maryland with her, but right after the oldest of the boys were born there, um, he didn't like the boy because he was a little too aggressive. He wanted to give him kisses. So that puppy got sent to her cousin. I've been a UPS driver since I turned 21, which was in 93, but I've been working at UPS since December of 92. Throughout that time, I've had five, six different jobs within UPS. First one was a ramp handler, which meant I loaded the boxes in the pits of the aircraft, and then got into sorting, got into dispatch, and then started driving once I turned 21. Fun story for driving that time. It was probably 94, 95. I picked up a rug from that we used to do for what we called airline flights, and it was a COD to Goldie Hawn. I got to drive all the way up to Aspen to go meet Goldie Hawn and collect a 70 some odd $1,000 check for a rug. Um, as a part timer, which is where I was up until 98, I literally got to drive all over the state of Colorado for UPS, taking packages either to the customers directly or to the different centers that we operate. We use a hub and spoke type situation. A hub is the big facility, a spoke is the smaller, and then you go back and forth between. And then the smaller ones go out and deliver to the individual places. Hmm. I decided in 98 when I was trying to get custody of Lucas or Luca and go full time. And I got to put down into our downtown area. That was fun. I got to meet a lot of interesting people, whether they were, because I was in the gay neighborhood, flamboyantly gay, hitting on me, strict lesbian, and they tried to get me fired because I wasn't female, or those that went both directions and hit on me like there was no tomorrow. and trying to get me into their sack as a 20 some odd year old man. That was kind of fun just to be like, what? What'd you say? No. Uh, that was lots of fun. And then I bid on this route because I'd lost custody of Luca and moved in with my mom when I had divorced her mom. And my mom lives all of 7 blocks off the route I bid. So I'd go home and have lunch every day. The boys' mom is happened to be one of my customers at that time, and hmm, I gotta say, there is a thing about hooking up with your customers as a UPS driver, and that is not a good thing for us to not have a 75+% divorce rate as a company. It is horrible. Um, in 2000, I had made top scale, which at that point is right around minimum wage now for most of the country. The loan people are like, "Oh, we don't know if you're going to guarantee these hours or guarantee these wages." And we decided to move out to the country because we wanted to give Michael and what turned out to be Adrian, who we had passed in vitro at like 5.5 months, a good life. So we had moved out to the country, and it was like a 45-minute drive either direction to anything. That was fun. Talk about some snowstorms out there. Oof. Put it out towards Miss Jen Medica if we look at it that way, because I was halfway to Fort Morgan. Okay. Any other stories, questions? That's your 20 minutes, right?
Well, let's take it back to how you eat and what you do to stay active, because we actually have quite a few people on, and I know they want to hear all about that. So let's go back to, you said Michael is your son that had the polyps,
Yes.
and then you said you had him clean at zero polyps. So how were you eating? Was that through food?
That was strictly through food. At that point, we were doing a lot of Juice Plus products, and I was still going down the rigmarole or the roller coaster ride of trying to figure out what worked and what didn't. Um, we would feed them bacon and a lot of salads, a lot of the Juice Plus products at that point. But at that point, I was starting to get meat heavy as far as for myself. And then Wendy, the girls' mom, had a lot of problems with um, not eating on my plans, but a Hispanic origin and their love of fried and floury foods is there, along with enough beans that I could, yeah, my labs would not eat enough of those. We had him down to it, but at 15, he decided to sue and have his large intestine removed. Instead of being on a bag and being healthy for that, he ended up having what turned out to be, well, it's supposed to have been like a 6-hour surgery, ended up being almost 15. Um, your intestines are held up by a lot of stringy material inside your body, and they have to go in and cut each of those stringy materials around. We had him clean, but he didn't want to live that way. He wanted to live without worrying about it, and now as a 25-year-old, he regrets it.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. So, what's he think about that decision now? And does he try to do anything differently now? I mean, obviously the surgery's been done, but perhaps it could help. I don't know. I mean, I guess he can't digest the way he did before because he doesn't have that. So, would any way of eating now help him?
I think so, but he won't listen to me. Um, the young 20-something-year-olds don't listen to parents. They just don't want to listen to what the parents have said for years. Vast majority of his food intake, which is not very much, is junk food of a lot of different sources, along with a ton of Gatorade. He did get a job. He's almost 2 years into that at a local Kroger store. But he's spent a lot of time out in the hospital since. He just had surgery a week and a half ago to remove a growth on his elbow. But they said if he didn't have the surgery, he would be dead at 44, period, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm sure that was just a scary time, especially knowing what happened to his mom and then to his grandfather. So, that's a tough decision to make at 14, 15 years old. Uh, uh, you got to weigh the options, I guess. So,
Yeah.
you found Abel James. So, what did Abel James teach you?
Um, that fat is good. That fat is really good. To enjoy bacon. Um, we ended up going to Vegas a few times for the first time ever for me, but I was with Wendy, and I was staying there one day. We had gone there with her brothers, and we drove in, and he that brother hadn't eaten yet by the time we got there. We'd stopped in whatever it is on the border of Utah and Wyoming or Nevada and all that stuff. I want to say whatever city that is. They just didn't provide enough food. So I went and had a breakfast buffet with him, and he's just looking at me and goes, "Dude, that's too much bacon on my 19th plate." And I would fill the plate up and up and up.
You've proven there is no such thing as too much bacon.
At this point, there is. Um, you can have too much fat, and then it causes, what's the Asprey say? Poopy pants. And yeah, you have those issues if you have too much.
Yeah, too much of a good thing is still too much.
Correct. But
Yeah.
I was still losing weight.
Yeah, yeah. So in our talks together over the years that we've known each other, and I've known you as NSNG always. So I didn't know that you were following Abel first. So how did you find NSNG?
Oh, probably 6, 7 podcasts into Abel, he had Vinny on. So when you hear Vinny and Anna talk about the year that they were up for a podcast, that was the year I was listening. Um, I mean, when we go old school, what was that, 2010 or thereabouts? I was actually able to listen to all 50 original episodes um, within the time frame without paying for them. That's how old school. And that I liked the way Vinny had talked, and it made sense. Um, I went from Abel to Vinny, just trying to get cleaned up even more because I see the way um, my issues are with sugar, and the way that Wendy, the current, has for diabetes in her family. Back to that being a leader thing, I've got to show you how to do it by being that person. And I tried to do it that way and try and try and try. Those ones that you love the most, that are closest to you, are the hardest to change.
You are absolutely correct, and there's no telling somebody this is going to make you feel better, this is going to make you better. Do it. You just got to keep doing your own thing and hoping that people are watching. You met my dad. You see that he's watching now, but it took years to get him to to see it. And then also it was quiet. Like he talked to me like 3 months later. Oh yeah, we started NSNG 3 months ago. Oh, okay, I see how it is. You don't even want to tell me that you finally listened to me. That's not fair. I want to know
You know the reason why?
why.
Because if they feel like it's not actually working, they don't want to disappoint you.
Yeah,
And
that
that's
makes sense.
what the customers have said to me when I talk to food. I don't know how many times I've said, "Hey, this is helpful to you. Just give up this. Just try this." And they'll say, yeah, I can do that, I can do that. Or they'll be like, oh, I can't do that. And it's just not something that they're willing to do. But you have to be willing to do it in order to accept the changes, if that
That
makes
makes
sense.
total sense. I didn't think about it that way, but yeah, that does make total sense. So, since you brought up your customers, you've told me before that you've kind of had conversations with people in passing about how you eat and what you do. So, have any of them done the same thing, been quiet about it, and then you've come up to them later and everything's different? Or
I'll give the young lady at Catherine's. Catherine's is a large woman's boutique for clothing. I'd been doing a pickup there for 4 or 5 years, and nice young lady. She's probably 5'3", 5'2", somewhere in that height frame, and fairly large because that's the type of clothing that is sold there, and the vast majority of the employees are looking for a discount on their clothes. That's the reason why you will work retail once you get out of a certain age group. And I talked her into giving up just bread. I actually gave her my copy of Vinny's book, and I never saw the copy again. Probably, I want to say it was probably February, March or so when I talked to her and handed her the book. And I hadn't seen her because of whatever reasons, whether it was me showing up early, me having time off, or her working a different schedule until probably almost August. And she comes up and gives me the, yeah, how do you think I look attitude? And I go, well, you look like I haven't seen you in a while. And she's like, well, yeah, I'm upset with you. Why are you upset with me? I've lost 80 pounds. I've had to go buy all kinds of new clothes. I go, okay, so that puts you about 310, 315. She goes, no, it puts me at 415, 420. I was over 500 when you gave me that book. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And I just didn't have any clue. Um, Another customer, because this is the one I actually wanted to talk with about, is I see them probably 3, 4 times a week because man has a glass company, and then the guy next door actually works for UPS as well. So we've done a lot of this over the years, and I don't know where I got the conversation on, but she was talking about one of the health conditions that she had, and I go, "Why don't you change your diet? Why don't you change what you're putting in your body?" Having no idea that the conversation was going to affect anything. Probably a year and a half later, I don't recognize the woman. She's probably lost 145 pounds from being 5'6" and probably 280 to probably 125, 130. And she comes up to me and starts talking to me and asking me more questions. And I'm like, okay, this is what I know. This is where I would go with it. And she's like, oh, okay, and takes off. The hubby comes out and goes, you just gave her another mission. I go, what? What do you mean a mission? He goes, you know her. I go, I don't recognize her. And she goes, well, she's actually the person you talked into looking up and educating herself on her health conditions. Did you notice that she lost weight? I go, honestly, I don't know who she is. She goes, this is such and such, whatever her name is. And I go, oh, really? He's like, yeah, she put it in remission. Your food choices of telling her to go figure out the alternatives got her off the medicine, got her healthy. Now she's trying to figure out something else, and that's what she asked you about. Oh, really? And I just wasn't expecting things like that. Last week, I walked into a medical office, and that's probably about 12:30 or so. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm late and I'm coming here during lunch. She goes, oh, that's okay. I was just going to wait till later to eat. And I go, oh, you're going to fast. She goes, well, no, because I'm getting I'm hungry. I go, if you change your way you eat, you can get rid of your hungers like this. And she's like, what? I go, you eat a lot of carb heavy food, right? She goes, well, yeah. I go, if you eat a lot of fat heavy food, you're not going to be as hungry as often. And she goes, oh, you're talking about fasting. I go, no, I'm talking about changing the primary energy source. And probably a 5-minute conversation, if that. And she just looked at me funny this week and goes, I just don't know. But there's a click in there that says, hey, maybe there's something to this. And, having a conversation and saying, well, I want to go out and I want to go run for 24 hours. And then people are like, why would you want to do that? Well, I've got energy and I need to get rid of it. And it's something to do, it's something different. You're not going to know what you're capable of unless you are actually pushing yourself. If you push yourself and say, oh, well, I can go 30 minutes less on eating today, and instead of eating 18 meals in 18 hours because you're that hungry, and you go 17 meals, you push yourself. You're trying to better yourself. And that's all the goal is to see each person get better. I found out a customer was getting ready to leave. Actually, Sunday's her last day at this job because they're moving her around. And I go, all I want to do is see you get better. I don't care if you're leaving the job because it's personal, leaving the job because it is something better, or you're just tired of whatever's going on at the job. I just want to see you get into a better position to be in a better place mentally for yourself. And most of the customers are like, I've never had somebody tell me that. But it has something to do with you want to see somebody do better. And it doesn't matter if it's food, if it's health, if it's stop drinking, stop smoking, um, anger issues. Coworker, he was angry, angry, angry over Christmas. Was it Christmas? No, that might have been September, somewhere in there. Really angry as I'm walking out with him. He's just cussing up a storm. And I'm like, dude, you gotta stop. This job's not going to change. You want this job, you got to keep it down and keep it away from the bosses. If you get upset with them, have won. Doesn't matter how they treat you. You're the one allowing them to get you upset. Diarrhea of the mouth. I told you this.
No, it's good. It's what you're showing is that you can and have gone off and you're passionate about seeing people in good health. And then you also are willing to speak up and say that. Like, we are all in this life, in this world together. We need more people that are willing to speak up and just share these things. Like, have copies of books available to pass out to people, or just be willing to share the stories, which is exactly why this little podcast exists, because that's our mission too. We want to hear people. We don't get to go door to door like you do, and interact with people, delivering packages, but we get to come out here and do it this way. So we kind of all have the same idea. It's just different ways of making it happen. And I love that it's working. I love that there's people out there that listened and were like, yeah, let me give it a shot and see what happens, and that it's worked. Unfortunately, it hasn't been any of your close family, but you are making waves out there for other people and their families.
Correct. And sooner or later, you'll see those people that you love the most come around. Um, I don't know how many Christmases ago, one of her family members comes up to me and looks at me and goes, how do you stay so skinny when all of us are getting fat? I go, what are you putting in your mouth? Oh, well, um, uh, um, I go, that's what matters. You can exercise all you want. You're not going to outgrow it. Give you an idea on that one. At one point, I had a Fitbit and I was averaging 225,000 steps a month, or not a month, a week. And I was in the challenge group with a professional basketball player that was doing well over 1 million a week. How do you do 1 million steps in a week? You dribble a ball. Literally, for a Fitbit, they register how your hand moves. Apple's not the same. I haven't seen how Garmin works because I haven't played with that one yet. But however you move your body around is how your Fitbit or your tracking data captures. At 225,000 steps a week, that's damn near 175 miles a week. How do you not stay active? Now, when you look at it in the sense of, well, if you're that active, when do you take a rest? Well, that's only in 60 hours. What do you do with the rest of your time? Then you go into a gym and they see you in those brown clothes and they're like, why are you in here? You do so much work. Why are you in here? At a certain point, it's not enough. Um, I pulled up to Dick's one day and I'd already done a pickup at Ford, and I'm waiting on them to roll up their overhead door. I've got this F-350 leaf spring. I'm going like this while the guy's rolling up the back door. And he's looking at me when he gets, I'm like, what? He's like, why are you doing that? I go, because I got nothing to do while I'm waiting on you. It's only 150 pounds. Yes, Robyn, that's 1.5 times you.
Yeah, I know. We discussed that when you were carrying the big heavy ball on the Spartan race. So let's you carried like two of me in, one of me in each hand for that particular race. So let's talk about the Spartan race thing. Which came first, the new way of eating or the active Spartan lifestyle?
A new way of eating. Spartan showed up in 2015. Um, Me being over, and I didn't realize this at the time, that I like to overdo things. I signed up for what they call the Beast in Breckenridge, and the Beast is at that point anywhere from 13 plus miles, and that day actually turned out to be almost 18 miles. We'd climb peak 7, peak 8, and up and down the slope. Um, Doing barbed wire crawl in the snow going uphill. It's chilly. That was fun. And I got hooked. I I don't know. I don't know how in the world I got hooked on that one. That was, yeah, that's my favorite distance. Why I enjoyed the ultras at 50Ks. The Beast is my actual enjoyment, but it's just not enough anymore. Um, in Fort Carson last year, I was probably about a mile from the end, and I heard this, according to Wendy, this beautiful lady complain that she's never going to finish. And but she signed. I see the shirt on there that's on her back that says Ultra on it. I go, "Do you want to finish?" And she's like, "Well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get past 16 miles." I go, "Do you want me to stick with you?" And she's like, "Well, okay." Well, no, you just go finish. Go finish your thing. I'm like, "Oh, I'll go finish. You go to the transition area, and I'll come back and I'll meet up with you." I get back to the transition area after doing my fire jump, which is the end of the races. And I've grabbed my medal, I've grabbed my shirt, I've put them in my backpack, and I start helping her get her stuff together. We made it 27 miles. She put me on her iPhone FaceTime video thing with her mom, two of her three kids. Is it three? No, four kids. Five kids? Five kids. She only got two to answer. And all talking, bragging about how she's getting all these miles in. And that was at like mile 21, 22. At 27, something happened within her body because she's not used to the distance, and had all of these red splotches come out on her legs from mid thighs all the way down. Didn't know about it because she was wearing long tights, but she's like, I can't do anything else. We were at one of those balls like you were talking about, where they call them armorers, ARM. ORER, and you're only supposed to pick up one ball. I pick up two balls because it's easier to walk, um, versus the one where it's swagging like this in between your legs. And she's like, I can't go any further. And they call the medics. Medics open up her pant legs, and her legs are bright red. Apparently, what if she would have kept on going, she would have bled out. I'd never have thought that out of a foot race. But since I'm used to being on my feet for 16 hours, I don't think about things like that. Back to you.
You still were able to encourage her to go further than she thought she could ever go. So, I mean, that's still a win. And you went and you did your thing and you came back. Because I've heard you tell stories before where you don't finish your thing, you forget to finish your thing, and then you're helping other people. So your kindness sometimes impedes on your own goals in that manner. But you always make up for it in the end, I think.
Yeah, that was Hawaii. I'd signed up 15 minutes before 50K for the 50K. And if I would not have talked with a couple people that were in that situation of, I don't know if I can complete it, and they were only looking at the beast, which is a 13 and a half, 14-mile race that day. And we are probably 5, 6 miles out into it, and that would have been my second plus lap. And they're like, I can't, I don't know. And I just sit there and talk with them and encourage them and show them. Many a times I hand out ultra salt products or ultra fat products to help these people get the energy that they need. And most of the people that are struggling on these races are the ones that are not prepared mentally or physically. Um, you do hard stuff so that you can cope with the stuff that you have no control over. I think that's the best takeaway so far. If you
Did
don't,
you see me grab my pen and start writing stuff down? Because I did.
no, I actually like that one.
It was a
Every
good
once in a
one.
while, I surprise myself.
You pulled that out of nowhere. Well, so explain though the Spartan race, because I've been following you quite some time, and like you have a gazillion medals, and then sometimes the medals fit together, and you have to do things, and it's you talk about this beast. It's 13 miles, but then you signed up for 50-miler. Like it sounds like there's a lot that goes on. So I'm very confused about what a Spartan race is, or races, or events, whatever they're called. I please explain.
Okay, there's four main distances. A what they call a sprint, which is roughly a 5K. Spartan doesn't know how to count. So when they say 5K, it might actually be a 7K. It might be almost a 10K. A 10K is called a super and a beast, and then the 50K, which they call an ultra. Back when I first did my first one of those, it was called Ultra Beast because you had to run the beast course twice. Beast not being a normal 13 miles because Spartan doesn't know how to count. 13.3 times 2 is 26.6, which anything over 26.2 miles is considered an ultra. In 2018, they switched it to just ultra. The medals you get for completing the race, jump in the fire, assuming that they have fire allowed for the fire issues, because so many places you can't have fire. Is One's a wedge, and the other one is a medal that says, "Hey, I completed this." So you get three different medals for all intents and purposes. Two medals for each race. So the first medal, let's say you start off at the lowest and just keep rolling up. You have a red medal and a red wedge. If you do a second one of the 10K variety in the same year, you get a blue medal. Well, either way, you get the medal and a blue wedge. Those two actually stick together with magnets that they built in. And then if you go do the beast level, which is the half marathon or the ultra, that medal will also stick in and you come up with a big circle. that shows all three of the colors. The ultra at this point is a purple wedge instead of a green wedge. And then instead of getting a medal, you actually get a belt buckle. Then they do have additional races which get a lot tougher, or not races, but challenges. Um, a few years back, they had a hurricane come through in Florida and they canceled the race, but people still showed up, kind of like I did to Tahoe in 22. Everything was booked. The fire was put out 3 days before before the race was scheduled. Still showed up. They were talking about putting a new course on, calling it the Firestorm. But anyway, the hurricane heats are a 4 hour series of challenges. I have yet to do one of those. Then it goes a 4 hour, a 12 hour, and a 24 hour one, where you're working in a group together trying to complete this course of challenges, whether it is mental or physical or emotional. It's all trying to push the body harder to their breaking point. Now, if you'll ever hear something called the death race, that's also part of the Spartan brand. And the one that was held last weekend, 0 out of the 19 completed it. It's that hard. Um, as I understand it, the first person dropped within the first hour, and it was supposed to be a 48-hour event.
So the races, do all of the races have obstacles as well? It's all built in as one thing?
So there's obstacles at every Spartan race, and the obstacles are no different than if you were a 5-year-old playing on the playground. You've got monkey bars, you've got ropes, you've got rings, climbing obstacles, carrying obstacles, um, a spear throw. How well could you throw something? Did you hit the straw man? Literally, some days it's straw, some days it's like the um, boxes that they use for archery. But yeah, it's just carrying things or doing something hard. In Phoenix, the second to last obstacle before the fire jump was you're going to take this um, sandbag, go up to the top of the bleachers, go around a couple times, come back down. The sandbag for men is 60 pounds at that one. So you're going up 4, 5, 6, 7 flights of stairs, up the stairs in the bleachers, and then back down. Fun.
Sure, some call that fun. Some may not, may have other words to call it, but we don't need to go there. I did want to say something though. You actually have quite a few people listening in the chat. Nobody's asking questions. I don't know why. We'll have to talk to them individually later. But Dan, our former guest, came on and he said, if you choose to do hard stuff that no one else is willing to do, you'll be able to do the hard stuff no one else can do. Oftentimes, my workouts are more about punishing myself mentally. So is that what's going on here? Are you punishing yourself mentally, or are you just a little bit just need to get it all out, and that's the most fun way you can find to do it?
Um, Talking to Wendy this week, we were headed over to TJ's house, and we passed Amazon, which is where she had worked um, prior to switching the locations. And I go, I miss walking home from there because I would go out there on a Friday night after I got off of work. So my normal 12-hour shift or whatever it was to hit my 60 hours, and I'd go over there. I go, do you remember that day I took the weighted vest? She goes, yeah. And she's like, well, why don't we do that again? I go, I'm not walking from the airport to there for the airline portion of her jobs. And she's like, well, why? I go, because that's 22 miles. It took me 5 hours to walk 13 and a half miles with a 50-pound weighted vest. She goes, well, you've got your balls. And I go, yeah, what are you talking about? Well, when you go over to Corey's, which is the local coach, why don't you just take one of your balls and carry that over there? I go, Corey's is 13 miles from here. She goes, yeah. and you like doing hard things. I go, you want me to carry a 100-pound ball to Corey's house at 8 o'clock and be at his house at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday? What time do you think I got to leave? She goes, what, like 5:30? So I got a new challenge. I'm probably going to do it this weekend. Put the 50-pound weighted vest on and see if I can't carry the 100-pound ball around the park.
Well, there you go. Well, you were holding two 90s in your hand just to have balance. I think you can do this as well.
Well, if you want, I can try with the 150-pound ball too.
No, no, I don't need to push you to do more. Do what you then you'll come back and be like, I hurt myself, owie, and just be all whiny, and we just can't handle we can't handle that. But I do want to ask you this. What are you doing to prepare for these types of races?
You're not going to like my answer.
Oh no,
Nothing. Zero. Nothing. Just work.
just work. And work is physical. I mean, you've got to lift things up and carry them, and it could be what I think I just saw a couple days ago that you were delivering somebody's weight bench and all the weights to them. So I mean, it could be any
That wasn't
weight,
even
any
a weight
size.
bench. That was just 4 dumbbells. The bottom box was 225s. No, the top box was 225 and the bottom was 235s. Because we go up to 70-pound weight limit before we start overcharging or charging above and beyond. Our actual weight limit is 150 pounds, which, by the way, a Ford rear end that's a 8.8 is 149 pounds. So the rear end out of a F-150 that's with nothing in it is 149 pounds. I'll go and I pick those up all the time. I deliver to a Jeep dealership. The Dana 44 is, I want to say 138. A Dana 30, which is the front axle, is right around, I want to say 124, 125 pounds. So, yeah, I just don't know any better. As I told you before we got actually on here, today was 125, 130 stops, and I did 19,000 steps. I didn't have even half of my route in order to be able to be off the clock in 8 hours. Um, Monday of this week, I hit 201 stops between pickups and deliveries, and I was at 26,000 steps. And I would guesstimate weight-wise between everything, uh, we're probably about 6,000 pounds that day. So when you look at the weight stuff, yeah, I don't think about it because I used to doing it. If I
Well,
did
that
it,
makes sense. We're talking about, I've heard it. I'm sure all of us have heard it a bunch of times. We actually pay to go into gyms to pick up heavy things and put it back down again. And you're actually out there working and doing the work and then able to reap the benefits of it by participating in these races and being a beast.
yeah, and you just don't think about it if you've done it. Like, I don't know what your guys' jobs entail. Could I do it? Possibly. Could I be effective at it immediately? Probably not. But you could effectively get into my job and be effective at it. We have a person that I work with that is roughly your size, Robyn, and she's still throwing around the boxes just like I do. But she had shown me before she got divorced her gym setup. That makes what your gym setup that you're going to now look like it is a small gym. She had found somebody that was selling a weight bar and she just bought the entire setup. She has ellipticals, um, weights. She's got something like 14,000 pounds of plates. They're at 94 pounds. What do you need 14,000 pounds of plates? But she
Can
doesn't have
never
to move
have too
anything around.
many.
I have 800 and it's not enough.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm not there. And I was never there, even when I was doing the Olympic stuff. I was not there. Uh, Too much technical learning to do to make that happen, to get too heavy. I was always scared I was going to hit myself on the head. Natalie's raising her hand here, so she has something to from the chat. Take it away, Natalie.
Well, Larissa Gray, she doesn't have a question, but she wanted to say that she's proud of the strides and accomplishments you've made over these past 16 years and that you have been in her life.
Speaking of the mama of the two boys, that is Miss Larissa. Love you too, dear.
Well, that's wonderful that you have that in your life. Everybody that you, it seems like I don't know how anybody could just not like you because you just you know I find myself fortunate to have met you in person and you and Wendy and having a meal together that didn't involve chicken. And
Oh,
you're
golly, you
just
want that
it's
story
a
for the chicken?
wonderful person. We can't talk about chicken. We're running low on time. You were worried that you weren't going to fill up the time, and here we are, almost almost there.
I'll give you the chicken one. Was perfectly fine eating chicken up until summer of 2000. I We had a hell of a rainstorm here. It lasted a week. The local news station said something like 100 trillion gallons of water had fallen. I picked up Luca from mom's house and went to go play in the mud to deal with my stress. And I buried my Ranger in the mud. I'm 6'2", and it was sitting on 35s at that time with 6+ inches of lift, and I buried it under the mud. No cell phone, so we had to walk out. So both of us are allergic to chicken. The only thing I can think of is that we had literally had chicken after we got out of that mud. When I finally got home after getting my vehicle out, I was told to go take a shower because I was green from the waist down. And we were only about half a mile away from Buckley Air Force Base.
Yeah, there's some unexplained things in that mud.
Yeah.
Well, at least you know to avoid it and that you're not like falling asleep randomly and having no idea why that's happening. But still, there's some questions and what's in that mud.
Oh, I don't care at this point. They have built up over that track. It's all houses now.
Oh, and Natalie has one more coming for you.
Maria Zavala, she would like to know if you've told us that she was the one who made you do your first mud run. Is that right?
Yeah. You saw that
She
picture
ratted
of
you out.
me with the climbing of the rope net. She's actually one of the girls that's in that picture. And what it came down to was Maria and Larissa were doing Girls on the Run probably a year and a half, 2 years before, or right in around the time frame that I started listening to Abel. And the festivals were just exciting. I got excited by the festivals, all the excitement of, oh, I just completed this, I just completed that. Larissa and Maria did the mud run there, Survivor mud run. Since you're somewhat familiar up here, Robyn, if you go up I-25, used to be a motocross um, course off the side. It's now next to Bucky's, or fairly close to that. And that's where the mud run was. The first year, Maria and Larissa had done that, and Wendy and I had volunteered, and it was just a blast watching. Like, oh, okay, I don't want to watch, I want to try this. So next year we went out and did it. Maria and I and Larissa's what would have been sister-in-law had she married Derek, all went out and did that. That was just an absolute blast. Throwing mud because I'm having a blast at the time doing a little 5K. It was lots and lots of fun. I actually still have that bib hanging up on my wall with the rest of my medals. Completely, totally brown because it's full of mud. I'm
They
raising them
say
too.
to choose your hard, and I'm gonna talk about me, and I don't mean to spin it, but doing all that stuff that I did last year in the trying the Olympic weightlifting, like that was super hard. Like it was a real emotional journey, and now that's doesn't exist anymore. The gym's closed. I can't do it anymore, and I'm trying to figure out what my next is to push myself beyond my limit. This sounds amazing, but I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I don't know if I am if I have that kind of ability, but I guess I wouldn't know unless I tried.
Well, I do plan on going to Dallas this year. So I think, because I do have 3 free passes, you're welcome to join me, Robyn.
Oh my goodness.
We'll start off, it'll be the 5K, and
Yeah,
I'll
start
stay
me
with you the
small.
entire time. I'll stay with you the entire time.
Okay. I might take you up on that because that sounds like I feel like I could handle 5K. I'm not a runner. I might have to prepare a
You,
little bit.
you can walk it. I don't have to run them. You don't
Yeah.
have to run. That's the best thing. The only person you're challenging it out of this, unless you're actually going for the uh, first, third, first or third places, is yourself. And I do better than I ever done before. Well, yeah, it's my first time. Could I do better than I did last time? Well, yeah, I can try to do best. And to give you an idea, the best 5K I've done was in Houston last year, and it was 50 minutes. As a normal 5K with no obstacles on a ground, I've done, I think, 37 minutes. So I'm not a fast runner.
But you get it done. And
Yeah,
you have
that's all that
fun
matters.
and you push yourself. All of those things.
Yeah, that would be a Sunday afternoon. I think it's October 19th, 20th, somewhere in there.
Oh dang, I can't be like, "Oh, I'll be out of town. School's in session, so I'll be here." Maybe it'll be a water polo game or a swim meet or something.
Uh, I
You're
didn't
gonna
know.
hold me to the fire, I know it.
Well, Daniel's trying to hold me to the Savage down there in Alabama too, and that one looks like fun too.
You two getting together and doing something like that, that would be a good thing.
That would be fun.
Yeah,
And he's
yeah.
already gave me the option for a place to stay, so all I have to do is get myself down there,
There you go.
and then he'll drive me there because he's going there anyways.
Yeah, it all works out. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. Well, we have hit our hour, and I have two more questions. But before I ask the questions, I just want to thank everybody who joined us live today. I think that we had the most viewers than we've ever had in your episodes. So you had a lot of draw, Ken. Just they just weren't
You're
very.
welcome.
I mean, they're chatting amongst themselves a little bit, but nobody's asking you questions. But that's okay. That we handled it, I think. So I just wanted to thank all of our guests for showing up today, and we really appreciate all of you who join us live.
Sorry,
It
most
means
of
a
them are
lot to us.
family.
They're family. That's good. I'm
Oh
glad.
no,
You
think
know,
about it. Most of them are family. I mean, there's 3 that I know of because Wendy just walked in from work and goes like this with her phone, showing that she's
oh,
watching.
hi, Wendy. She's watching, so maybe
Yeah.
she waved to her. Maybe I just made her wave to her phone, and I can't see her. We don't have to. We don't have to say anything about that.
Anyways, you had more questions.
Okay, so um, I do. Where can people find you?
On X, it's my first name as Ken instead of Kenneth, and then dot Lesnansky at X or whatever you put it that way. On Instagram, it's either beast underscore of the beast or beast. The S is on one end or the other of the beast. And it was reference to me being dad to boys. And that one is just more or less my races and my workouts. It's either beast of the beast or beast, beast of the beast with underscore in between the words, or beasts of the beast. I don't remember which.
I will double check before putting it in the show notes and make sure it's correct in the show notes. So they're not up now. There's no notes up now, but after we disconnect. I will make sure that's correct, and I'll put it out there so it's there. And if you're in
I will.
the NSNG VIP group, Ken's in there sharing all of his fun stuff in there as well. So it's not open now, but you can always put yourself on the wait list on VinnyTorridge.com, NSNG VIP group, something. I don't know what the slashes are or whatever. So, okay, final question. This question we ask all of our guests. If you could give one piece of advice to someone who's just embarking on their journey, what would it be?
It will take longer than you're wanting it to. No matter how hard you push, you can't go any faster than what your body is able to do at that moment. You can push yourself to do an extra 10 feet if that's what you're capable of, being, say, Scott King size of 600 plus pounds, or you can push yourself to do your first 100 miler because you did a 50 miler the week before. You have to push yourself to keep growing. You have to grow. If you don't grow, you become stagnant. Good answer?
Wow. Yes, that's an excellent answer. I see Natalie over there clapping. Yes, that was a fantastic answer. And it humbles me a little bit because, like, you're challenging me to go do the one in Dallas with you, and I'm like, I could come up with a gazillion excuses, but every time I say it out loud, it would be exactly that. It would be an excuse. So I feel like I might be joining you on a Spartan in Dallas in
Oh,
October.
Matt can join us too.
Yeah, come on, Natalie. You got to come too.
Always wanted to do a Spartan race. They scare me, but I think it would be a blast.
You said you were close to San Francisco for the flight stuff. There's one in
Sacramento.
San. There's
I
one
can
in
go
San
right.
Jose.
Oh,
That's the one where the video of me doing the two balls was taken.
oh, interesting. Well, I have to learn how to train for it. I think that's where I'm like, I don't know.
Watch Daniel.
Okay.
There we go. And it's funny because the two of us are like, oh, well, I've got to prepare, I've got to train, I've got to do this, and you're just like, yeah, I work, and then I run out, I just go and I do the thing, and I
Okay,
get the medals, and I go home.
so for the ladies, the heaviest weight that you'll pick up is 75 pounds, which is what they call an atlas ball. And it's basically a chunk of concrete that's in the shape of a ball. That's the heaviest thing that a lady picks up besides herself. All the other obstacles are the same, regardless if you're male or female. The only difference is your weight. The one guy I was talking to in San Jose, I swear the guy was 450. That's 6'5", 450. And we were talking about food, and he was struggling, which was fine. I was struggling at that moment too, because I had pulled a groin in that second race. But, what can you do to help somebody get past their mental block? That's what you have to do, and figure out how to teach them, if you're teaching them in a way that they can understand. There's people that learn by reading, there's people that learn by listening, and there's people that learn by watching. How do you learn?
Good gracious, Ken. I think we need more people like you out there because you're quite insightful. And I've enjoyed our conversation very much and kind of wish we had more time, but I got a squeaky dog playing with squeaky toys in the background, so it's about it's about time for me to roll. So thank you so much on behalf of Natalie, Scott, who couldn't make it today, and myself. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And everybody go follow Ken on his socials because he's out there helping everybody all the time. He's just that kind of guy. So thanks so much, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.